I'm a firm believer that nature is healing. In these chaotic times, I invite you to take a breath and reconnect with our natural world. Wow, right in front of us. I'm Chris Morgan. Join me on The Wild as we explore stories of hope and resilience in nature. We'll bring you up close to some extraordinary species and learn how they are finding ways to adapt and thrive in fast-changing environments. Listen to The Wild on the KUOW app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, Booming listeners, it's Joshua McNichols.
And Monica Nicholsberg.
Happy almost New Year. The Booming team is taking a week to rest and recharge before the new year begins. We've got lots of episodes up our sleeve that we're excited to share with you.
In the meantime, we wanted to revisit some of our favorite episodes. This one is about why sports tickets are so expensive in Seattle and how you can still enjoy sports here on a budget. This episode originally aired in November 2024. It's hosted by our producer, Lucy Suchek, and Joshua. We hope you enjoy it.
If you've tried to go see pro sports in Seattle recently, you may have felt some sticker shock.
You know what?
Finally.
Hockey season is here. We're showing up, baby.
Of course, that comes with a price tag.
Right now it hurts, but I'm still willing to do it, you know?
Over the last 20 years, sports ticket prices have risen 50% faster than inflation.
If you're thinking about a family of four, costs are going to be easily $500 to go to certain events. My family doesn't have $500 to go and spend on sporting events.
And prices here are higher than average.
And that's before hot dogs.
Hey, dog man, hot dogs here.
So that raises the question, why are ticket prices so high? I'm Lucy Suchek.
And I'm Joshua McNichols. This is Booming, a podcast about the economic forces shaping our lives here in the Pacific Northwest. There are a lot of players in the ticket-selling business, and they're driving the cost of tickets out of the ballpark.
Here's a drive deep to left. Giddy up, baby, giddy up! Goodbye! Julio ringing that bell with a 3-run jack.
So how can you be a sports fan in Seattle on a budget?
That's coming up.
Ilya Rozanov? Shane Hollander. I wanted to introduce myself.
You will not be so nice when we beat you.
That's not happening.
So, Joshua, we got this voicemail from one of our listeners, and it was about the high price of sports tickets in Seattle. Her name is Heidi Miller, and I think she sums up what a lot of people experience here perfectly.
My family has always had jobs. We have always worked. We have always paid our taxes, and we have always paid our tithes at church. And despite all of this labor, we can never afford to go to sports games in the Seattle area. I would like some answers.
This is so real. Sports are games. They're supposed to be fun. It must be so frustrating to not be able to afford to even go to one of them.
Yeah, it takes a lot of the fun out of it, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. So what's going on? Why are ticket prices here so high?
I wanted to find out, so I talked to Colin Lopez. He teaches sports economics at Seattle University. It was a sunny day when we met, so we were like, let's just meet outside Climate Pledge Arena. And coincidentally, tons of hockey fans were waiting to get in.
When I first moved up here, people were telling me how crazy everybody was for the Kraken, but to actually see it, we're hours before the game has started, and that's already a line all the way back to the wall there to get in.
I asked some fans what they paid. This is Joanne Howard, who drove up here from Vancouver, Washington.
For tonight, I think I paid, it was like $125, I think. It was a resale ticket, actually, so it was a pretty good price for a resale, because further down, it was like upwards of like $300-400 per ticket. Overall, I think it's worth it in the end because you're getting a lot more out of it than just like spending a few dollars on something. You're getting like a huge experience. You get to interact with other fans that, are from out of state, even out of country. Last time it was like a guy from Ireland was here.
The Kraken have the 7th highest attendance costs in the National Hockey League. There are two main reasons why sports tickets are as expensive as they are. First, there's ticket resellers. These are online marketplaces. And second is dynamic pricing, where the cost of ticket prices changes in response to a whole bunch of different variables. We'll get to them both, but first let's talk about the ticket resellers.
Okay, so that's StubHub, SeatGeek, companies like that, right?
Exactly. Places where you can buy and sell tickets on the web. To go back in time a little bit, 25 years ago, ticket prices had a face value that was set at the beginning of the season by the teams, so it was a fixed price. And the resale market for sports tickets was relatively small, just friends and family buying and selling them to each other or coworkers. And then if you wanted a last-minute ticket to a game, you go down to the stadium and buy it from somebody on the sidewalk and hope you're not getting ripped off. But then something changed. Startup companies like StubHub got into the action, and they created this online platform, kind of like eBay, where people could buy and sell tickets, and they could charge as much or as little as they liked. StubHub had this mascot. It was an oak tree with tickets for leaves.
Oh my gosh.
Hi, Ticket Oak.
Hi, Ben.
Can I get 4 tickets this weekend's game? What?
All you had to do is ask, and the tree would provide.
I love you, Ticket Oak.
I love you too, Ben.
How weird.
Yeah, it is weird. It's like this giant puppet. So the resale marketplace grew bigger than it had ever been before with StubHub doing this stuff, and prices skyrocketed. StubHub started raking in cash. After StubHub, a lot of competitors sprung up, and over the years, sports team owners started getting jealous of the money that was being made on the resale market. Take the situation in San Francisco. In the mid-2000s, Barry Bonds was having a super hot streak. He was hitting record numbers of home runs.
It's a deep! It is
Oh, to be a sportscaster.
Yeah, I know.
You just get to say the craziest things.
They all have their little signature things that they love to say,
Yeah.
As Barry Bonds was breaking records, demand for San Francisco Giants games would go way up, and ticket resellers made a lot of money off that. Because ticket prices were set at the beginning of the season, the Giants lost out on a lot of those profits.
Yeah, this seems like a really big missed opportunity for the teams.
Yeah, and this brings us to the second reason why ticket prices are so high. In 2009, the Giants, Barry Bonds' old team, introduced something called dynamic pricing. Dynamic pricing allows ticket prices to go up when there's high demand, in response to that market demand. Remember, before, those prices were set at the beginning of the season. And, that's a problem because nobody can predict at the beginning of the season exactly when a player is going to have a hot streak.
Right.
And so if they ever have another hitter chasing a seasonal home run record and everybody wants tickets to a game, now the team's ticket prices will go up and the team will make more money. The Giants borrowed this strategy from the airline industry.
Yeah, airline ticket prices go up and down constantly. So it sounds like the resellers kind of redefined the rules of the game almost. And in response, sports owners changed the rules again so they could keep some of the profits that the resellers like StubHub were taking from them.
Yeah, and that strategy spread to other teams, including Seattle's.
A great example here is that when the Seattle Storm have a game, and if Caitlin Clark is coming to town, right, that ticket becomes much more desirable.
Clark from way downtown and knocks it down, Caitlin Clark.
But there are limits to how much a team is willing to let prices fluctuate. They don't want to make fans angry. And there's nothing that'll make a fan angrier than learning that the person sitting next to them paid a fraction of the price that they paid.
Awkward.
Yeah. So the teams tend to put up guardrails on their dynamic pricing to avoid that kind of a situation. But the resellers, like StubHub or SeatGeek, have no such scruples.
Yeah, they don't have to worry about keeping the fans happy.
Exactly. So they took this idea of dynamic pricing and they pushed it to the next level. They allow ticket prices to change in real time with no guardrails. I was just looking at, World Series tickets the other day, and there were some selling for like $12,000.
That's crazy.
And now technology has pushed things even further. Colin Lopez told me that local brokers with bots are vacuuming up large volumes of tickets right when they go on sale, and then turning around and immediately posting them on the resale sites. It's illegal to use bots like that, by the way. It's all automated, and it's become difficult for a normal human to snap them up in time.
Unfortunately, they go so quickly, and there are so many of these secondary markets, who grab up hundreds, if not thousands, of tickets when they first go on sale. And then you see those tickets resold, minutes later at, 3, 5, 10 times the price.
This is especially bad with concerts because they can sell out very quickly, but it's a significant factor in sports too.
Yeah, this is feeling like an AI move, buying large blocks of tickets at once. Do they use AI for this?
Colin says definitely.
Companies that exist out there that have proprietary software or different machine learning algorithms and things like that go in and basically spit out this number that they should be setting their prices at.
Okay, so they've got a number for buying and a number for selling, presumably.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's just like those automatic stock purchases and, like on Wall Street.
Yeah, it's very similar to that, actually. I sort of think of the secondary market a lot like the high-frequency traders that exist out there, where we're making money on the margins because of how quickly we can get, involved with this.
The teams and Ticketmaster, which sells tickets for the teams, fought this kind of thing in the courts. And that battle continues today. It's still going on.
Mm-hmm.
But until they get some sort of major legal decision that weighs in their favor, they've cut a deal with the ticket resellers. So for now, their philosophy is, if you can't beat them, join them. Most teams have contracts with companies like StubHub or SeatGeek now, and they allow them to become the official ticket reseller for this or that team. The sports teams actually get something out of these arrangements.
If you think about it from the team's perspective, that's guaranteed ticket sales, so we'll just take that money right away.
Letting resellers snap up so many tickets takes some of the financial risks off of the teams.
This feels like collusion to me. Is this even legal?
For now, it's all legal, according to an antitrust professor at the University of Washington that I consulted. At least he says, not until there's been a demonstration of collusion.
Mm-hmm.
But Colin Lopez says he wouldn't be surprised to see evidence of that at some point.
So we've talked about these two major reasons about why prices are so high. Are there any other major factors that we should know about?
There's a couple of things. I haven't really mentioned basic supply and demand yet. Some sports have fewer games than others. The Seahawks have only 9 home games this season.
Yeah.
And baseball teams have about 80 home games per season. So there's a much bigger supply of Mariners tickets than Seahawks tickets relative to the size of their fan bases. And so Mariners baseball games are a lot cheaper than Seahawks games. Then there's the relative popularity of men's games versus women's games. Women's sports are a relative bargain. But women's games are going to get more expensive, too. For one thing, the Seattle Reign and the Seattle Storm are just so good.
Mm-hmm.
And WNBA games are going to start showing up on television a lot more.
So as we see the WNBA, especially with this larger TV deal, start to become, more of a mainstream professional league, I think then you might see those ticket prices start to go up as just more casual eyes are turned to the product.
Now, we haven't really talked about player salaries, and that's important to address because some player salaries are really high, and it's kind of a natural thing to assume that those high salaries are one of the main drivers of high ticket prices. But that's not the case. It turns out that high player salaries are mostly funded by contracts with TV networks and cable networks and streaming services. There's one more thing, though, that's really affecting us here in Seattle, and that's that many teams want to be seen as premium teams. Teams like that look around at other premium teams across the country and compare prices, and nobody wants to price their tickets so low that people think of them as a bargain basement sports experience.
So if the Kraken want to see themselves as one of the premier NHL teams and experiences, they're going to price their tickets like that. And so far they have done that. And even then, they've done a great job of filling it up.
It kind of reminds me of, I'm a gardener.
Yes.
And one time I wanted a whole pickup truck full of horse manure to put in my garden.
Of course you did.
And so I found this farmer, or at least a guy who owned horses out in Bridle Trails near Bellevue. And I went to go buy some horse manure from him. And I paid him $25 and started filling my pickup truck. And he's like, I used to give this stuff away for free, but nobody would take it. So once I started charging $25 for it, like, I can hardly keep enough of it around because so many people want it.
It's seen as more valuable when it's priced that way for some reason.
Exactly.
So did Colin give you any solutions to get cheap tickets?
Yeah, he says there's some ways you can game the system. For example, you can procrastinate. Ticket prices drop right as you get close to game time, right before kickoff or puck drop or tip off or whatever. So when it's getting close to game time, you head down to the stadium and you stand outside the gates and you get your phone out and you've preloaded, at least 4 of these ticket reseller apps on your phone, SeatGeek, Ticket Hub, TickPick, Vivid Seats. And then, right before game time or even just a few minutes after, start shopping on those apps for a good deal. And if you score a deal, you're already at the stadium and you only miss the first few minutes at worst.
Yeah, that's a nice idea. There's a lot of risk in that. Like, what if I don't get a ticket for cheap and I have to go home or something? And I also don't really want to have 4 apps open on my phone and searching for tickets right outside the gate. Like, I should just be able to get a ticket. Do you think there's ever going to be a point where I can just go to a famous sports team game without breaking the bank?
Maybe not for football and hockey, but yes, we could get there. Because ironically, the thing that's making sports expensive now could also be the thing that brings more affordable sports to Seattle. The wealth and enthusiasm for sports here are attracting new kinds of teams.
If you look, across the United States, I think Seattle and Las Vegas are 2 of the areas where we really see like professional sports are just booming. Looking in the last 10 years and even looking forward the next 10 years where you're going to see tons of these new professional teams that are coming up in sports that we might not expect as well.
It's sort of a market correction, basically. For example, the Seattle metro area now has a pro cricket team in Redmond and a pro rugby team in Tukwila. And they have plans to move to Seattle. And a greater range of teams at different levels means greater range of ticket prices.
Okay, so that's down the road a little bit. But bringing it back to right now, Colin's an economist, but he's obviously also a sports fan.
Yeah, and he says he doesn't have $500 to take his whole family to a game.
Right. So what does he think is the best deal in Seattle sports?
Women's soccer.
Athens versus Roque for the lead.
He loves the Seattle Reign.
She steps into it and scores 1-0 Seattle.
He says you can sometimes get $9 resale tickets to see them play.
As a parent with a 2-year-old now, I think for me, like looking out and seeing the kids, seeing how excited they get, especially the young girls that are there, seeing women who, that's their role models, that's their idol, and seeing how like inspired they get. For me as a parent, that's like all you can ask for from sporting events, really. I think that's sort of that whole good-natured idea of sports that a lot of us fell in love with, was this idea of having it be this family communal activity. And I think that's something that sort of game experience allows you, is you can get close to the field, you can be right there, see the action, and it's not something that's gonna cost your family to miss any payments.
I mean, I think that the women's soccer team being so cheap, like there's pros and cons here. We want women to be paid more to play.
And in women's basketball, the players' union is trying to get better salaries now that the WNBA has this TV deal. So yeah, pros and cons. But for now, the silver lining is that there's this great sports experience with some of the best athletes in the country that's still relatively affordable.
That's it for Booming. Thanks for listening. Our New Year's resolution is to continue bringing a podcast to you that you love, that features interesting, relevant stories about our community. And one cost-free way to help us do that is to follow the show on Apple or Spotify, NPR, whatever podcast player you use. That way, you'll get notified when we have a new show, and it also just really helps us out.
Yeah, and then while you're there, consider giving us a rating. You'll help others discover Booming, and that really supports the podcast. So thanks. Booming is hosted by Monica Nicholsberg and me, Joshua McNichols. Our producers are Lucy Suchek and Alec Cowan. Our editor is Carol Smith.
We'll be back with a new podcast next week. Happy holidays.
Everything is expensive in Seattle. But when it comes to restaurants, I got a lot of tricks and tips up my sleeve to help diners eat well in this city. I'm Ton Venn, host of Seattle Eats, a food podcast from the Seattle Times and KUOW, part of the NPR network. I'll share about the latest buzz in the Seattle food scene, like the hottest openings and the best bites that are worth your money. Listen now to Seattle Eats on the KUOW app or wherever you get your podcasts.